smell like a cowboy with these 5 fragrances. So you want to smell rugged, masculine. When I think of what a cowboy should smell like, it's usually, peppery, leathery, maybe tobacco, relatively heavy, rough types of notes. So I've compiled a list here of fragrances I think are, they fit the bill pretty well. And I'm going to start with one of my favorites actually, which is from Dior, Tobac Color. So this is kind of a pretty straightforward tobacco fragrance. It's actually unisex, but it's really mostly masculine. This is really, really good if you really like tobacco. If you don't like tobacco, scents, you're not gonna like this. But as I personally really like the smell of this type of tobacco note. It's really smoky. It's kind of mysterious. It's very rugged. Again, very masculine, and it's just kind of one of the best tobacco fragrances that I've come across, because there are a lot of them that are really pungent and just not that good, but this is well balanced. I don't have anything bad to say about this particular tobacco fragrance, except for the price, because it's one of Dior's more expensive fragrances. But besides that, it's just really long lasting, great projection, great smell. Again, if you like tobacco fragrances, then you will love this one in particular. And longevity for this one is about 8 hours. It lasts a really long time. It's primarily an evening fragrance, just because it's so heavy, but you could probably get away with wearing this during the daytime, but definitely not much of a middle of summer type of fragrance, just because it's too warm and too heavy. But for the rest of the year, really good option, especially for the evening. Moving on from this, maybe you're not that big of a pure tobacco fan. Then, one that I quite like is Morning Chess here from Wilhelm Parfumerie. This is a leather fragrance primarily. Now, it's not a super strong leather fragrance. It's more if you want something leathery, but more toned down. This isn't really an intimate fragrance, it's more of a moderate fragrance. People in your immediate vicinity will definitely be able to smell this on you, but it's not going to, go all the way across the room or anything. This is more of a subdued ruggedness, I suppose. Really nice leather smell. It's a very authentic leather smell, very much like, old leather gloves or a saddle or, anything that's actually made of leather. And it's just nice, it's a warm, kind of toasty scent, almost a kind of cozy scent as well. And the fact that it isn't too intense allows it to be extremely versatile. Even though it is on the warmer side, it's not exclusively for the colder months. You could probably get away with wearing this even into the summer sometimes, because again, it's pretty moderate. It kind of is very adaptable. And you could definitely wear this during the daytime, during the evening. So again, very versatile. This is kind of, if you're going for leather, this is kind of your all-purpose option. The only kind of downside is that, again, because it isn't super strong, it's not going to have great longevity. It's about 5 hours of longevity, so not an all-day, all-night type of fragrance, but you can always reapply it throughout the day if it does fade too quickly. And again, in general, it's a nice, more rugged, but a little bit more lightweight type of leather fragrance. Then, moving on to a very, very strong one, if you want a really intense, long-lasting option. Tom Ford Tobacco Oud. You got the two super, like the most rugged notes combined, tobacco and then the oud. Now, this is, if you've never smelled oud before, it's a type of wood, but it's kind of like a musky wood. So it has this very intense smell. Oud alone can be a little bit too crazy, but then you mix it with the tobacco and it kind of smooths it out a little bit, smooths down those rough edges that it has. But this is definitely pure, rugged, masculine smell. Not for everybody, mainly just because it's so strong, and for some people it is a little too musky, too woodsy, too smoky. But if you are going for that really intense scent and a really long-lasting hugely projecting scent, then this tobacco oud is pretty much the way to go. You do not have to put on very much, just a few sprays, and it will really, you know, be a powerhouse on your skin. But it does do a good job of balancing the oud with the tobacco because, again, they're both very strong scents. And it has a little touch of sweetness just to really balance out how intense it is. Yeah, definitely super rugged, very much a dark type of fragrance, primarily best for colder weather or the evening. Not as versatile as the others just because it's so intense and, you know, kind of crazy. But yeah, you wouldn't want to wear this in the middle of summer when it's just too hot. But otherwise, very nice fragrance to wear if you want that, you know, powerhouse of a fragrance. Then, moving on to a very, very niche one that I have a feeling most people have not heard of. This one is called Calle Ocho from a niche brand called Fulton and Rourke, which I haven't talked about in a while, but this is a delicious, extremely cowboy-esque fragrance. And the main notes it has are actually on the sample itself: rum, tobacco, and sandalwood. As you can imagine, that's a very rustic mixture. I love this one. The rum note is sharp in the beginning with a little touch of sweetness, but then it really, you know, kind of like just drinking the rum itself, it really warms up really quickly into this just like, I don't know, just amazing smell. And then you have the sandalwood and the tobacco. The tobacco is very smoky, like, you know, actually smoking a pipe. And then the sandalwood comes in, adds a little bit of this kind of woodsy dryness and warmth. And combined, this is just a super rustic, you know, kind of old-time classic sort of smell. So definitely a good option if you like those types of notes. The boozy notes mixed with, you know, the smokiness, kind of like that. Longevity is really, really good. I would say about 7 hours, maybe even 8 in some cases. Projection, really good. The notes are all relatively heavy, so it's going to have great projection and longevity anyway. So good option overall if you like those types of notes. And the last one, I do not physically have, but it is kind of a more obvious option, which is Dior Sauvage. And again, it's kind of an obvious option because basically all the commercials for Dior Sauvage are like out in the Wild West. So it's maybe not as leathery and smoky as some of these other ones on this list, but it's primarily peppery. You know, you have the pepper, the Sichuan pepper, pink pepper, you know, lots of pepper, plus some wood notes, you know, and then some florals actually to balance it out. But it's best for those who want a little bit of freshness mixed with those heavier notes. If, you know, some of these previous ones are too warm and too heavy for you, you want something a little bit more refreshing. Dior Sauvage is definitely a great option for that. It's also extremely long lasting. Most people say that it lasts between 7 and 8 hours, so it's gonna last most, if not all, of the day for you. And again, it's a classic option. It is a little bit oversaturated, but if you don't mind that, you know, you just want that type of fragrance that it has, then Dior Sauvage would be a good option for that. And again, it's still rustic and kind of Wild West-esque. But that is pretty much my list here of fragrances to give you that kind of cowboy smell. But hopefully you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, and if you did, of course, you can always leave a like, maybe subscribe, and I make videos like these throughout the week, so stick around for those.